I understand your point, and I agree with it that no team plays 100% through all 4 quarters. But my problem is this team goes completely MIA.
I've seen them play against good teams, but I sometimes it's easy to forget those when the most recent thing that happened is Boston, Milwaukee.
Yeah, you say we see flashes, but I feel like it's my weight since 30. Yeah, sure, I dropped 80 pounds 3 times to be sub 200, but then I still fuck it up eventually.
Espo,
That's just the way this team is right now.
Let me ask you something.
Great, I can see it work for 3 months, and then there's little flashes. 1 quarter does not make me believe in this team.
But let me ask you something. Who's the clear-cut best team in the West?
The Nuggets.
The Nuggets?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where do they? Okay. After the Nuggets, how close is from 2 to 8?
2. There's teams much closer than us.
No.
Nuggets.
I'm saying keep it real.
What difference does that make?
The difference between 2 and 8, because I feel like y'all are putting the Clippers and some of these teams in they like 2.5 games better than they can lose 3 in a row and somebody can win 3 in a row and the Clippers are a playing team. So why are we putting these teams on pedestals like they've been playing great all year? They haven't. No one's been dominating the West.
They've had better stretches than the Suns have had.
By 3 games?
By
3 games?
They put full games together. The Suns have not put a full game together with the big 3.
They haven't put one full game all year.
No, there has not been 4 quarters that you look at and you go, that was an unbelievable 4 quarters. All right? Have they won games because they've had a good couple of quarters and played impressive? Like the Kings game, down 22, you have an impressive 8-minute stretch? Sure. But I have not seen 4 quarters where you can look at this team and legitimately tell me that they played a full basketball game where everything was clicking, where I could go, that team makes sense.
Does every team play a full? Because here's another thing. Watch enough basketball, every fucking game there's a 20-point lead in a basketball game. Every game. That's commonplace. Watch basketball around the league and tell me if in every game you don't see a team up 15 or 20. So if Denver wins a game, you remember how many Denver wins? They were up 20 and only won by 5? Is that a full game? No, that's not a full game. So that's what I'm saying. We're sitting here putting the Suns into this box as if they're the only ones that are doing that.
Yeah, but that's the only team I fucking care about. That's the thing.
I get that. So we could talk about the Suns, but let's not act like they're doing things that no one else in the league is doing.
I totally get that. But the litmus test is not what everybody else is doing. It's what the premier teams are doing. And how would we fare against those premier teams? And right now, I'm telling you, visually looking at this team game to game and the inconsistency, I don't have very much confidence that they're going to be able to execute when the rubber meets the road. I don't give a shit if it's the play-in or if it's in the if it's in the playoffs itself when it's the first or second round or whatever. I don't know what you can possibly hold on to with this team that gives you so much confidence to think that they're going to finally come through against these teams in a 7-game series. And I know you're very high on that they're going to be able to match up game to game in a playoff and that they're built for the playoffs. I just don't see it. And that's okay that we disagree.
Yeah,
I just don't see it. This team has been too egregiously underperformed all season when they have the sum of their parts, when they don't have the sum of their parts, when guys just show up and they don't show up, like the big 3. Like we got a couple games where they've all scored 20 points. Then we've had games like this where one guy scores 11, another one scores 28, somebody's in the middle. Like we need more consistency across the board. And I do feel like from time to time we are deflecting all over the place. It's, it's the chemistry. Oh, it's the bench. Oh, it's the defense. Oh, it's not this. It's that. Like, if you're constantly having to make up excuses at a variety of different points and compare us to other teams and how they're performing, then you're probably not as good as you think you are. And that's where I'm going. As I just think that this team is not consistent enough to be a championship contender. And honestly, like, They need to worry about just the playoffs. They don't need to worry about championship aspirations. They need to worry about one game at a motherfucking time because they're struggling just with that. I mean, you can't go from the Celtics game and get blown out in the second half and then come back, have a great first half against the Hornets, and then the second half starts, and in the fourth quarter, those same Wolves come back to haunt you again. Like, when are we going to learn our lesson from game to game? And that's the thing that is struggling with me is that they don't learn their lessons. They habitually repeat them over and over again. And yes, as people are saying in the chat, IT ain't going to solve that.
No. I wish, you know what I wish? I'm being honest here. I wish I was actually part of this network and part of this show when the Suns went 68, 64 and 18. I wish. Because I don't have that experience. Y'all have that. From this lens, I can just see what I see and how I saw it. But I'm gonna keep saying it, man. I've been watching basketball too long to get okey doked into this shit. Like
the 64 and 18.
I would have loved to see what the chat was saying and what everybody else was saying.
Everybody was great. Espo will tell you, behind the scenes, I told him, I was just like, I don't have a good feeling about this team getting very far.
Okay.
I did not have a good feeling about that team going because I did see some things that were kind of like concerning, right?
Yeah.
But if you say it out loud, well, this team's 64 and 18, you're fucking stupid and blah, 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 blah. It's like, all right, well, you know what? I'll just bite my lip. But that's exactly what happened. And so, like, I look at this team, I get the same vibes. I get the same vibes that they're not going to be, going to be able to rise up to the point where they need to be the caliber of team that we thought they were. I'm not even going to say championship caliber. I just want them to maximize their potential, and I don't see that happening this season.
Go ahead.
I understand your point, and I agree with it that no team plays 100% through all four quarters. But my problem is this team goes completely MIA at times. Look at the first half of this game defensively. There's been all sorts of examples. They have the 5th worst differential in fourth quarter in NBA history. Like, it's fundamental things. It's not that they aren't playing 100% every quarter. We've seen almost in every game some stretch where they completely disappear. And that's my problem. It's not that they're not 100% all the time. They can go from like 100 to like 20% showing up, and that's problematic.